Hello, everyone. Welcome to Friday. Thank you so much for joining us. And we are very excited today because we have a very special guest speaker here. Love when we have guest speakers. Welcome, welcome. We are recording today and it will go to YouTube. So really excited to have this conversation today. And I want to introduce our guest speaker. We're so excited that you joined us, everybody. So please help us welcome Jayden Cruzado. Jayden is a first-generation sophomore majoring in finance at Rutgers Business School in Newark, New Jersey. He's the treasurer of the Rutgers Real Estate Society and engages in many other organizations on campus, including the Rutgers Finance Society, Rutgers Student Managed Fund, and Little Investment Bankers of Rutgers, to name a few. Born to immigrant parents who influenced him greatly in his professional endeavors, he developed a passion for challenging himself and possesses a high-achieving mindset. And he received a 4.0 GPA in high school and ultimately a full ride to the Northeast's #1 public business school. Jayden takes advantage of all opportunities around him. Differentiating himself from his peers, Jayden is an avid reader, works on his goals daily, and strives to be recognized for the results he produces. He is a proud recipient of the Rutgers Student Innovation Award 2021, congratulations, and strives to be the hardest worker in the room. On a mission to navigate the challenges of entering corporate America, Jayden seeks opportunities to work with mentors and seasoned professionals, like Laura, who's joining us here today. She's been very integral to his career. He desires to climb the corporate ladder and become an owner of his own in the near future. Currently, Jayden works as a real estate agent where he guides individuals on the complexities of buying a home, and he's celebrated. I'll let him share one of the successes he's had there recently. He resides in Belleville, New Jersey, and enjoys watching Formula One races, boxing, and spending time with all those who made it possible. Oh my goodness, this gentleman, I'm so excited to bring you on. Thank you so much for being willing to speak with us today and share your experiences. Thank you, Laura Ripchin, who's on, my dear friend, who was able to introduce Jayden to us for this talk. And Jayden, can you tell us today what you want to talk about and why you were excited? And can you also share the success of you told us about recently with real estate?
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. I just want to first start off by saying it's an honor to be in front of you all today. Definitely. So just to start off, as she mentioned, I'm a sophomore at Rutgers Business School, majoring in finance. And I'm just, again, honored to be here. Where do I start? I just want to definitely say that you guys had a lot of warm words for me on the LinkedIn, so I hope I can live up to that. But yeah, so she mentioned before that I had something to say about being a real estate agent. I actually recently just sold my first house, and I really just want to thank you guys, and I really just want to thank Tiffany and Laura for allowing me to be here today. Laura's introduced me to Tiffany, and Laura has been amazing. She's helped me a lot through the process of navigating through corporate America and how to refine my interview skills. So again, kudos to her. She's been amazing, and yeah.
That's so awesome. Thank you. And congrats on the sale of your first house. I almost said it, but then I was like, I feel like you need to share that. That is such an amazing accomplishment amongst all the other ones that we heard about in your bio. So I know you have so much experience and it's been so great getting to know you. And I wanted to start with, can we start with your education? And can you tell us a bit about Rutgers, the diversity that's in the school, and what opportunities or involvement you have there? I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah. So Rutgers, I'm a part of the business school there. It's like you said, a very diverse campus, many different cultures, many different races, many different ages as well. I have enjoyed my time there. I've connected with a lot of different people, a lot of different cultures, as I mentioned. I feel that, adding just to dwell upon the fact that it's like a very diverse school, I feel like it makes one a better and more well-rounded candidate. There there's you get to learn a lot from different cultures, I feel. And from that, you get to learn different lessons that their parents have taught them. And ultimately, you get to learn from that, take that in, take what's good, take the bad things that you don't want, and then, learn from that and use it into your own life. And then on campus, the organizations that I'm a part of, I feel like they're very inclusive. They allow you to feel a sense of community. Just to name a few, I've been a part of many mentorship programs on there. You First, which is a first generation mentorship program. So similar mentors who are first generation get to mentor you through some of their experiences and challenges that they've experienced. I've been a part of Alpha Association of Latin Professionals in America. They talk about imposter syndrome, and they kind of navigate you through some of the complexities of not feeling that you're fit enough for a role, or that you're worthy enough. So altogether, I feel like Rutgers is very well. They help you navigate a lot through some of the challenges that one may face entering the real world and corporate America.
I love that. Thanks. And you said, so it sounds like you've taken, we're talking about turning, maybe what other people might perceive as adversity, or, things that you've been able to turn into, or maybe challenges, right? That you've been able to turn into gifts and opportunities, hence the title of the talk. But you said something that was interesting to me, and it was around taking kind of the good and the bad. So what are some of the lessons you learned from other folks that maybe you said, for me, I want to apply this differently. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, definitely. So I feel like we're creatures of imitation. Like when you see something that you like, you kind of take it on with you, and then if you see things that you don't like, then you realize that you don't want to do that. So I feel like a lot of the lessons that I learned is definitely to believe in yourself, have confidence in yourself. I know that from Laura, she emphasized in an interview, you have to toot your own horn, because nobody else is going to do that for you. And then just realize that no journey is singular. Everybody's very different. So you can take one story and then just take the good from it and what worked for them, but realizing that it may not work for you as well the same exact way, and just kind of just build upon what has worked. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So it sounds like you have a lot of opportunities and a lot of involvement in school that's really done that. What, coming into school, were there any lessons from family, or did you bring any of that into school with you? And what maybe have you helped other people learn through your own culture or your own background?
Yeah. So I feel family is a big part of me, the mindset that I sort of built up along the way. Um, you know, Seeing, my parents who were very hardworking very early on, that definitely influenced me, and what I felt was working. Like I said, your creatures, you see things that work, and then you kind of imitate it. So, like for instance, my dad, no matter rain, shine, snow, even if there was a hurricane outside, and we emphasized him not to go to work, he would always wake up, go to work, because that's just something that was proven to work. And I kind of took that with me, is definitely just hard work produces the results that you want. Consistency. And then these are just some of the things that I learned, and that I kind of share with some of the students on campus. I am a student leader on campus. I'm the treasurer of the student of the Rutgers Real Estate Society. So some of the challenges that they may possess, I have encountered myself. I feel like the reason why I can and speak about some of these problems and the ways to navigate through them is because I failed a lot. So with that failure came with me being able to put myself through their shoes and understand how I got myself out, and what they can take the good from it, and if not, then they can realize what not to do, and figure out how to navigate from there.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And your dad definitely sounds like he has some good advice and some good work ethic that he's sharing with you. And so I'm glad that you've been able to navigate this. So it sounds like you're, definitely mentoring others too. What do you feel like is a really either a pinnacle moment from mentorship for you and or just in mentorship in general? So if you were mentoring someone, what do you feel like is something that just has to be there in order for it to be successful?
I would definitely say accountability. I have this quote that I remember I shared with Laura. I have it here written down is your body is a reflection of your daily habits. Your wealth is a reflection of your daily habits, and your success is a reflection of your daily habits. So essentially just taking accountability for the things that you have and the things that you want. So essentially, if you don't have something, or if you want something, your daily habits have to reflect that. So if you want to get better if you really want to get better interviewing, you would go to somebody like Laura, and then you have to be consistent with it. And then you ultimately will get better. So I feel like just taking accountability for your actions and understanding that, you are ultimately stopping yourself from not succeeding, or getting the result that you want will get you a lot farther than, trying to pin it on somebody else. Because it's very easy to look outward rather than inward. So I would just start off there, and then probably dwell upon that.
Thank you. I love that. I wanted to go back to maybe the education piece because when Laura and you and I were talking, you said something about compassion, and you just shared with us how meeting with these other students and learning from them and getting to understand that, how it really helps you learn. It helps you take the good and the bad. But you said something when we talked about compassion, and it helps build compassion, helps you build compassion for them, but also helps you all build compassion for each other. And I just thought that was so cool from a diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging perspective. Can you share a little bit more with the group what you were discussing with us?
Yeah. So compassion. Can you just repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you were talking about the different cultures that you get to learn about at school, and how you all learn from each other and you get to know each other, you get to learn about the cultures, and how you felt like that kind of brought about this compassion for each other. And I just wanted to see if you wanted to elaborate on that, because I thought it was cool from an equity perspective.
Yeah, definitely. So I feel like compassion comes with just understanding, their circumstances. So I feel like when you are exposed to different cultures and different people, ultimately different ways of living, you become to understand them, resonate with them, and you get to really dwell into the fact of, why they are the way that they are, from just the way that they were grown up. So, like I said before, that it is from, going looking at these different cultures and then just being compassionate for them, because you're understanding their circumstances, the way that they were brought about, and understanding them brings about the feeling of, compassion and understanding them better as a human being.
Thank you so much. I think that's so important. And we often in this group talk about just the different things, every intersection that we all individually are at, which is different. And this group itself is very diverse, but also just some of the challenges that we see out there in the world. I know everybody in this group is in some way, shape, or form leading, mentoring, doing their small part in community to create ripple effects. And this is one of the reasons I wanted you to share that with us, because it sparked so much inspiration the way you described it about how, I kind of felt like I wish it gave me hope for our future leadership, because not everybody can do that. As we know, this is a very difficult world to navigate in. And just hearing you say that, how you took this space to be able to hear and hold other people up and really be a space where you could learn from them, but they also learn from you. And just sharing that culture is so important. We need more of that in this world, not less. And I'm so grateful for you sharing that with us. So definitely appreciating that. So you talked about you first and the exposures in real estate. Can you tell us, like, how was it through school that you got into real estate? Can you tell us a little bit more about that journey and where you're hoping to go with school and your career?
Yeah, so I actually, this was not a linear path to real estate. I actually have an aunt who who was in real estate, and then a cousin who later got into it afterwards. This was just something that was roaming around in my family. And I heard about it a little bit, but I didn't really understand it until I further got into I got to the end of my high school years. So I know that it was a license that you could get, that as soon as you turn 18 and you get your high school diploma, that you're able to take the exam and get licensed. So as soon as I finished my high school, I graduated from high school. I got my high school diploma. That summer, I took my licensing exam. This was in the midst of COVID. So I feel like even though I was in school during summer, I wasn't, wasting a lot of, the sunny days, because, it was, we really couldn't leave the house. But yeah, so I got my license that summer, and, I really just tasked myself with becoming personable over the summer. I feel like it would definitely help me overall, and just being able to communicate with people. Ultimately buying a home is one's largest purchase, or most people's largest purchase in their lifetime. So I feel like if I'm able to do that and convince somebody and ultimately guide them through that, then I can really tackle on other problems. So yeah, so I had some family in it, so they were definitely an influence in that, and motivating me and navigating me through some of the issues that you may encounter in a real estate transaction. But then ultimately from there, I got into school. I joined the real estate society. I got to learn more about commercial real estate, and I really found to love it. This fall, I was involved in a commercial real estate internship and with Project Destined, and it was awesome. We got a property that we could pitch, that, I worked on a team with, and we really just worked on a story for the property. We made the numbers tell, a story to investors, and that's something that I found that I really loved. And that's where I am now today, interviewing for it, and, really just catching my attention as of now. Yeah.
That's so awesome. And I know, this question might be premature for where you are in this process in real estate, but I'm curious, since the focus of this series is diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, you're sharing, opportunities, but also things that, you talked about like failure and I assume some barriers. Have you seen anything within the real estate industry? Do you have any insights or perspectives to share? I'm not asking you obviously to share anything confidential, but anything that you've seen or would hope to improve on from that? Because I know there's a lot of issues with equity and lending and discrimination and those types of things. So any insights that you would have or any struggles you face maybe as you're in this real estate arena?
Yeah. So firstly, as you guys may notice, I am 19. So I know that a lot of people, they're to trust somebody else, or trust a real estate professional, they may think twice about trusting, a young individual like myself, and um navigating them through finding a home, and describing the process to them. So I had to definitely keep that in the back of my mind when talking to these individuals, being comfortable with being a little over prepared, so that if they ask a question and, I didn't have the answer, that scenario wouldn't come about, because then, doubt would linger on in their mind. So I definitely had to navigate through that in real estate. And, also just, yeah, I feel like my age is definitely one of the qualifying factors in um, judging it, whether or not somebody is trustworthy, has integrity, knows what they're talking about. But just really just sparking upon other of the qualifying factors, which is being knowledgeable in the area, gaining that trust with them, is something that I had to dive in more, a little bit more, because, age is something that um, I can't really change. Yeah, for lack of better words. Um, but Yeah, as to your other question of some of the things that I would probably change in real estate, I think that there's definitely things that could be, there's a lot of fear. I would say a little bit behind, buying a home, and it's and um the behind buying a home, and and again, trusting an individual with doing that. So I do know that, me personally experiencing that, an agent asked me for my age. I'm like, you look young, you look like you could be my son. So it's definitely something that I've experienced before. Um, so yeah, it has something I've experienced, but I just kind of brush it off. I understand that that is something that people are going to judge me on, but I just, push on to another day. Like I said before, I did get to sell my first house, so it wasn't a barrier for too long, and I definitely push through that.
Way to shine. I think sometimes, those are the biggest successes, right? When someone's telling you you can't do something and you continue to persevere regardless. I love it. Lots of stuff in the chat about the hope for the future. So you're inspiring all of us. I love it. I love it how these clap in. Frank says, AJ doesn't want a number. Definitely. And I think so often right now we have several generations in the workforce. And so being able to navigate that, having someone like yourself who is a young leader, but a leader, we need to start normalizing those things and making sure that folks understand that you don't have to have the title to lead. You talked about a nonlinear path, and so many people are doing that. And our younger folks also get a lot of stigma and, oh, well, they're job hopping, versus looking at it as, hey, I'm exploring opportunities. And if you're not creating the right environment, my goodness, we talk about work environments all the time here in this group, but if you don't create the right environment, you shouldn't expect to engage people. You should not expect to retain them, regardless of their age. But I think these are very good points that you brought up too. Laura, were you always off mute, or did you have something to say?
Oh, I'm sorry. I've always been off mute.
Okay. No, I didn't.
The other way around.
I'm you out. I hadn't noticed that you were.
I'm usually muted. and then I start talking and people say, can't hear you. I had a question, if I may ask a question, unless.
Anybody, please ask in the chat.
Yeah. I was just thinking, Jayden, and everyone, from my perspective, having performed a mock interview with Jayden. That's how I got to know Jayden. I'm a freelance coach at Rutgers Business School, and every semester I go in and I work with the students to see where their interview skills lie. And Jayden really struck me because I thought he did a bang-up job, not only because he was articulate, but he was very engaging and had a confidence. But that's not true of many of the students I work with. They're and understandably they're green. So I was just wondering, I know how it's impacted my life as the coach, working with an incredibly diverse population. Initially, the first few years prior to COVID, I coached students at the Newark campus, which is considered the most diverse campus in the entire country. And I loved that idea. I thought I was learning a lot, and I found it very interesting. But from your perspective, Jayden, I'm wondering how, if at all, you being a student at such a diverse university, how you think that has impacted your education and your worldly knowledge. Do you feel like you're better prepared having gone to a university, such a diverse university like Rutgers? How has that prepared you even more so for your future in the corporate world, the business world? Is the question clear?
Yeah.
Was it a roundabout?
Yeah, definitely. So I think that I'm more prepared because of the diverse community that I'm surrounded by. I feel like with with different cultures comes different sets of problems that they face, and then how they navigate them as well. So learning from the way that they navigate those problems, and how, learning how, just the drive that they have as well. So, I feel like even, the people that I surround myself with at, at the business school, and Rutgers, the main campus as well, having that diverse view of life, and I feel like, they're very ambitious. It pushes me and motivates me to work harder. It really just puts life into perspective, and these people are very motivated, who are really want to succeed, because maybe they have similar parents like mine, who are pushing me to value education, to really succeed in or dedicate your time towards learning. So I think that surrounding myself with people like that, it really pushes me to work harder, try to achieve more things, and I think that in the more niche environment of the finance major that I'm a part of, it's very competitive. Just being around people who are, again, diverse, different backgrounds, you get to see their ambition, which kind of relays onto me, and I become more ambitious as well, and I feel like we're all learning from it, and we all grow from each other. So like ultimately we're all better off from the diversity and the lessons that they have learned, because we get to learn them as well.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Yes, thank you, Laura, for the question. And I put in the chat too, but I think, that's very inspiring too, from an HR perspective, from a human perspective, because of the fact that we spend so much time on trying to convince people about the case, the business case, the ROI, the why you should do it for diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. And it's nice to hear that you are this generation who's understanding of that and can help very naturally explain these things. I think from the perspectives and experiences that you have, obviously we all have different lived experiences, but that's so important. And just people understanding the organic ways that it can happen versus trying to check the box, be performative, try to do all these things that necessarily aren't going to work, when really it's about the people and valuing people as a whole person, as you described in your experiences here, which I think is really important. So you talked about education as a value, and a couple of other things from your parents sharing. Are there any other values that you bring with you every day? Are there things that influence you, maybe from being a Latino, or any of the other intersections that you sit within? You want to share any more about the values you bring with you?
Yeah, definitely. I would say I actually had this conversation with my sister yesterday. It was unrealized to me before how much emphasis I place on like family. To that point, I know that for Thanksgiving, everybody's around the table, and you're eating dinner with your family, and that may be something that's a normal other days, but I come to realize that was just a normal dinner for us. Almost every single day, we were coming around the table, and we would spend time and eat together. So it's definitely something that I bring with me, and that I see other people on campus as well. They value family. Another thing is just I definitely value everybody values being like included, like you said, diversity, inclusion. So just making people feel included, understanding that some people might not feel welcome, and I definitely try to bring that with me to like the clubs that I'm a part of. Just make people feel welcome, make people not feel like this is something supposed to be intimidating, that nobody's perfect ultimately. And even like those people that we associate, people who are put together, we assume that they have greater competence, greater confidence, or just are better overall, that they all have their flaws as well, and they're all trying to navigate them as well. So I definitely just make sure to put an emphasis and a value in making people feel included. And some things, another thing, this is more like personal, is definitely me. Like I really value consistency, and like I really value like my future. I feel like I would rather not suffer, but I feel like discipline is ultimately, giving up gratification now for, an outcome in the future. So that's something that I definitely value as of right now, and I guess in my mindset currently, because I really want to, for my future self. I would say it's like an investment from a financial perspective. It's an investment in my future, and where I want to go. So that's definitely something that I value, that I take with me at, every day, self-improvement. As you read in the bio, I definitely love to read. Me and Laura share that. I take quotes with me all the time. If I see a quote, I write it down, because I really feel like, the small words, they carry a lot of weight, in the small sentence that it is. And yeah, so those are just some of the things that I can think off the top of my head that, that I really value and I take with me.
Tiffany, if I
So,
may add something as well,
mhm.
just from the experience that Jayden, in your question, and that Jayden brought up about family, something that really struck me early on when I started coaching the students at Rutgers. And again, initially I coached the students at the business school in Newark, which is a very small campus. And that's the campus that's extremely diverse. And listening to you just now, Jayden, I kind of put these two facts together, that these are students, 90% of the students that I've coached are from a different part of the world, speak a totally different language. When I start working with them, I don't even know before I meet them if they're male or female, because their names are so diverse. So I couldn't even say where they're from. So with that fact, how diverse the campus is and the school is as a whole, and that all of them, I have been so struck that every single student I have worked with since 2012, all talk about, including Jayden, all talk about how grateful they are to their parents. Every single one of them, in conversation with me, somehow it's woven into the conversation that they really feel they wouldn't be where they are if it were not for their parents. And I've always had an assumption, which probably I shouldn't make, that young people, and I was once a young person, don't really appreciate their parents as much, or they don't appreciate family. But that does not seem to be the case with this population of students that I've worked with. And I wonder if some of that, if the common denominator here is that they've had different challenges that they've had to face, rather than someone coming from a very different background, who was brought up here, brought up in New Jersey, coming from, being an American, or not being a person of color. I just wonder if this adds to the gratitude, which I find really beautiful. I find so extraordinary. Would you agree with this, Jayden, that the people, your peers, seem to share this same kind of gratitude that you do, and that family is important?
Yeah, definitely. I think that family, as I shared with, with my peers, that, they value family as well. And I kind of didn't realize how much until, like I said, I had that conversation with my sister, and that almost every single day is like Thanksgiving. So which is awesome. I know that some people aren't, able to do that. So, I'm very grateful for that. Like you said, I'm very grateful for, the people who made it all possible, who allowed me to, value education. And because, that's where the answers are, being educated. You can't be manipulated. You can't be you can't be, you can't be swayed some way, if you really know the answer to it. So they really put an emphasis on education, because the road is smoother, the road is greener, when you have, that education behind you. I know that, just using my dad as an example, he came here when he was 17, to America. He was born in Peru, so he came here at a young age. So 17, I'm just 2 years shy of that. I don't imagine myself, up and leaving somewhere to a different country and starting my life over there. Didn't know the language, and ultimately, built his own business and was able to, buy a home. So I feel like that in and of itself speaks to the how it's in arm's reach. I would say, he was given worse circumstances and they turned him into an opportunity. So I feel like with my path and, me being able to speak the language, me being able to, go to the schools that I went to, not that I brought it about, but, as I mentioned before, my parents really valued education. I went to a charter school for my middle school. So I went to a blue ribbon charter school because that was a path that they saw was right. And then later on, I went to a private college preparatory Catholic school, because that was just the way that they valued education. That my town didn't have the best high school, so they were like, we don't want you to be, we really want to invest in your education, and that's ultimately how I got into Rutgers, and because of them. So I owe them everything. So just back to your question about gratitude, Laura. Yeah, I definitely think that even though I am self-motivated, it comes from them making it possible, and for them, instilling that into my mindset that, a lot of things are possible.
So just on segueing off of the word, which is a big word, gratitude, how do you think that this gratitude that you feel and you've developed and has been such a big part of your life and your culture, how do you think moving forward, looking ahead at a career in finance, how might that be to your advantage, having that behind you, that kind of gratitude, if at all? The question clear to you?
Yeah, I think it definitely pushes me, because I ultimately think that even though it's not required, I really want to give that back to them. So I think that it really motivates me to ultimately do what's needed, and then on top of that, do a little bit more, because success is something that that's an interpretation, because success can be very different from anybody's view, but mine would definitely be to give back to them, be able to provide for them later in the future, um and yeah, I have two little sisters. I have one older sister, one little sister. So just being able to be that older brother, be able to, um yeah, to just give back in any way I can, and as well as the things that I've learned, because like I mentioned before, I failed a lot. So I make sure that those mistakes that I made were not being made again, if they ask, of course.
Okay, Holly. Thank you so much for sharing that. Mike, I saw your hand before.
Oh, I was just curious what kind of books you like to read. And then in addition to that, if you have any hobbies.
Yeah. So I actually, funny story, as a younger, like when during high school, during middle school, I really did not like reading. And I figured out that the reason why was that, Shakespeare really wasn't for me. And fiction really just wasn't for me. But once I got older and I realized there were other books out there, for that I actually liked, I realized that I actually really liked reading. When I had COVID, I remember I bought a book and I finished that in like 2 days. It's just, I feel like there's a lot of knowledge in books, and the message is clearly points out. I'm a really active reader. I make sure to highlight, so that I really take in what's going on. And again, it's not required of me and it's not a homework assignment. So I really feel like I enjoy it a lot more. And as to your question of books, I have a couple on my counter right now. I just recently read Atomic Habits. I'm in the process of reading How to Influence Friends and Family, that business book. I read Amplify Your Influence. Laura gave me a book, The Disruptors, about escaping corporate America. It was a great book. So I definitely just business books, self-improvement books. Yeah, because I just like to learn about things, and those are the things that I gravitate towards right now. And then as to your question about hobbies, I listed them on in the bio. I recently found a joy in watching Formula One races. I've always loved cars, but then later on I found out that there was this broad sport that I never heard of, about Formula One races. I love watching football. I'm a big Giants fan, and I'm a Yankees fan as well.
Oh, it's just getting worse.
I'm a big Giants and Yankees fan. And what else? Right now is the World Cup. USA is gone. So I really like Messi. So I'm really gonna go for Argentina. Hopefully they win today.
It'll be close. Well, I don't know. Croatia and Brazil are looking for penalty kicks. I think it's going to right now.
Really?
So
Yeah, I know
yeah.
there's a game that's going on. I'll check on the score a little bit later and see, because the matchup is a little hard this year. But
Yeah. I was kind of curious because, I saw the thing with Formula One, and the reason why I was asking a little bit of a redundant question there on cars is like, I know some people that I work with who are into cars as well, and they also like to work on cars, and like do their own repairs. So I wasn't sure if you were like, you also like get hands-on and like fix things too.
yeah. So fun. I actually have this old beater BMW. It's
I
from
knew it.
yeah. It's from 2003, so it's as old as I am. It's 19 years old. But I love that car. I've spent a lot of money on that car. Just upgrading it because
Mhm.
I just really like it. I feel like in another life, or maybe down the line, I might do things with cars. Yeah, I really love cars. I've added different lights to it, different corner lights, different. It's one of my passions that I found.
Okay. Gotcha. Thanks for answering my questions. I see Naomi has a question.
Yeah, thank you, Mike.
Okay, so if anybody sees my t-shirts, it says diversified portfolio. And I do believe in diversity in your life. This is talking from chronological age and experience. This is what makes me balance. I believe I do. I'm involved in a lot of things that make me who you are. So I will be the Jewish grandmother because my oldest grandson is 2 years younger than you. So I'm holding my head still saying, oh my God. Since my grandson was born, it was 17 years ago, I really have learned that we have 5 grandchildren. I've learned that there's so much to learn for my grandchildren. They have a totally different perspective. And we have a standing joke because I'm so non-techie because I wasn't born with all the technology. So I have my second grandson who is 15. He's my techie. I said, John, I have a problem. Please help. Please help. Okay. So I've learned to, and I'm listening to you. I'm in awe, really. But I will ask you a Jewish grandmother's question. What about your social life? That will add to the diversity of who you are, because you seem like such a balanced young man, and I'm impressed and I'm in awe with you.
Thank you so much. Sometimes when I hear these things, I myself am a little shocked because I consider myself a little normal. I consider myself normal. So when I hear these things, just thank you. But yeah, ask your question about my social life. Yeah, I do think that there needs to be a balance. I definitely do stress myself out throughout the week. So, on the weekend, I like to spend time. Sunday's my relaxing day. I get to watch all the sports. and just kind of decompress. Make sure to get my, my homework done maybe Saturday, if not late Sunday night. But yeah, I started to develop a passion for salsa. So that's something that
Oh, wow.
I've started, because, I figured that's a timeless dance that you can do forever. And, my dad has always brought about the ideal of balance. You should work hard, you should, go to the gym, you should eat right. But then later on, you also need something for entertainment. So he was like, definitely take on something like salsa. So I've actually been starting my salsa lessons. So that's one other thing. And then, occasionally I'll go out with, friends, and, hang out with them on campus. I've encountered a lot of individuals, but I definitely value friendship and the people that I stick with around me. I've told Laura this a couple of times. I have 3 cousins that are my age, and as long as one of my best friends. And I really value their friendship. I confide with them with a lot of anything really, and we do everything together. We go to we go to the gym. We went on vacation together. We've been to amusement parks together. So those are really my really close friends, and aside from college and college friends. But yeah, the socially that's where I'm at. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for inviting that question, right? Because we work so hard and we give, and we have to pour into ourselves too. Something else that we're always talking about here. But I love that you have this time with your cousins. And I was just saying, Mike and I were just home in Milwaukee saying that one of my favorite things about Thanksgiving was all the good cousin time that we got. And we have cousins who are just like siblings as well. So I love that. Any other questions or thoughts? I know you're never shy about adding those in the chat or coming off mute. So if you do have them, otherwise, what's, any tips you have for anybody if they're in school, Jayden, or ways that that from your perspective, make this world more inclusive? Like what's your secret? How do you do it?
Yeah, if I were to give tips to other college students, I would definitely echo a lot of the mentors that have instilled me some of their knowledge. Something along the lines of just keep on be very engaged on campus. You learn a lot from students. You hear about different opportunities. Just building your network is really important, especially in the financial field. So definitely build your network. Get good grades in school. I feel like it translates over to just showing your commitment when you're in an interview. You can definitely use that as a clutch. And even I remember I spoke with Mike, and he definitely showed me to have something, have results. Just don't speak. Just don't speak about something. Have something to show for it. And I think that just goes to talk. Like talk is cheap. If you really have something behind it, you can show yourself as an individual and stand out. And then I know that again, just echoing a lot of the things that my mentors have said is, you have to make yourself stand out. So whether you do that playing the piano or doing something that you're really passionate about, stand out as an individual. Because especially like in financial applications, there's a million other kids out there who want the same job as you. So, you have to make sure to stand out. Find a way, find something that you really gravitate towards. If you like stocks, make a stock pitch and then present that in an interview. And ultimately just be well-rounded as well, because you have to live in the present as well, just not always thinking about the future. So that's something that I'm still working with as well, because I have a lot of emphasis on the future. But you definitely have to just sit down and relax and just be in the present. So I guess those are some of the tips. I'm definitely leaving out some, but off the top of my head, yeah, that's what I have to give. some college students. And, I'm always out there if you need any help.
Thank you so much. This has been so inspiring. You said something else that has come up multiple times in this group, and that's kind of a foundation is, talking about getting educated and having the facts behind you, because we get inundated with all types of news and all types of things. And sometimes it's like, well, how much of this is true? And it's, part of our role and responsibility to be educated about whatever we're sharing, whether that's in school, in the workplace, as it relates to anything diversity, equity, and inclusion, belonging, which that's going to all fold into work and school and all the things, or at least it should, if we're doing it right. So I really appreciated that you shared that, and these tips that you've really given for other people, the leadership that you display, and just taking the time to chat with us today. I think that it's been just a wonderful hour, and I appreciate everybody's questions and time. Any other final thoughts or questions that anyone has? Laura, do you have any reflections?
Yeah, I do. Unless someone else would like to ask a question, I don't want to be greedy and just take all the airtime here. I can't help myself. I'm a coach. We ask a lot of questions.
No, I would just say one thing. I'll just interject. Jayden, if you want to reach out on anything, I know we just had the one meeting, just let me know, because like I could do mock interviews, or we just did the resume item there, but I know kind of what you're interested in, and there's certain people it's probably good to connect to. So just let me know.
Thank you, Mike. I'll
Mhm.
definitely hit you up on that. Thank you.
Sure.
That's great. I think the one thing, while future looks good, certainly, you're well positioned, but that doesn't mean that we always feel upbeat, positive about a future work or future career. It's just human to have some doubts or some challenges that come to mind. Is there anything for you that, when you think of your future, that feels like it's a bit of a challenge for you, or something that you really want to focus on and work on or develop? Or is it all just full steam ahead and that's it?
I would say it's a little bit of both. I feel like I definitely have the mentality of going, like you said, full steam ahead. I always look back and I'm like, okay, maybe I could do a little bit more. Maybe, maybe if I look at how somebody else did it, like I can build upon that, and, just try to really differentiate myself from a lot of people. There's always that talk of like, being, the top 1%, and, having, accumulating, that wealth. And I feel like, and it's something that, again, I suffer with sometimes, because sometimes when I want to watch TV or, binge on a show, I'm always thinking to myself, okay, but, that's what 99% of other people are doing. If I really want to, stand out, maybe I would have to go a different route and, do this. So again, it's still a work in progress. And, my sister's definitely been one to tell me, put me in my place and tell me, you need to just relax, decompress, and really just take in the fact that, you do have accomplishments and you have done all these things, and just, just be happy with that, be content with that. There doesn't always have to be that next step. So yeah, it's definitely something that I'm working on. But I also don't want to lose steam. I'm still very young, and I feel like I have a lot of things to embark on, learn from, fail, and then learn, and then, ultimately, hopefully succeed in the future. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
Totally does. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
Yes, be okay with resting sometimes, and you're already doing amazing things that the world sees and will continue to see. But so grateful that you shared your values with us today and your time, and I hope that this is helpful for other folks who are either in school or coming up behind you, for our future leaders. Thank you all for your brilliant questions and conversation and support, as always. So you have a whole new network here, Jayden, who's here to support you. And if you ever need anything, we are here. But any parting words?
Yeah, no, definitely. I just want to reemphasize the fact that I'm honored to be in front of you guys today. This was the first podcast, I would say, or conversation that I've embarked on. So I just want to thank you guys for being here, for asking the questions that you did. Again, it's an honor. I want to really thank Tiffany for introducing me. Laura for introducing me to Tiffany, and Laura for really helping me start my journey into entering, corporate America. I really want to, say, and Mike as well, for, giving that feedback on, a resume, how to interview. That's ultimately the first steps into, getting a role and getting a job. And I feel like because of your help, it really allowed me to speak about the things that I am speaking about now. So I really just want to thank you guys, for being, being a part of, my role, being a part of the process of me, getting the things that I have. So yeah, I just really want to thank you guys. Again, thank you guys for being here. You guys have been great. And thank you, Tiffany.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So, well, hopefully I will see you all next week. I hope you have a wonderful weekend and take care of yourselves and rest and restore. And we'll see you all again soon. Take care.
Bye,
Take
guys.
care. Bye-bye.